can't get on. That was one of the suggestions of our district. So, Rotary thought, without community service, we will not have a strong quality of life. It's important that the person who serves as well as recipient. It's the way in which we ourselves grow and develop. You know, service before self, that's our motto. And this year, we're really making a concentrated effort to do more hands-on and use our talent along with our treasure in our community. And this past weekend, just to report, we had the opportunity to go and help with the Warminster Food Bank, hand out bags of food. I think it was a Thanksgiving dinner set up. The director was telling me at Nativity, and I'm not sure how many bags. I was a second shift, you know, so I know Sean was there, Janice was there. If you guys want to just give a little bit of a report for the how the morning one and what you guys did. And Sean put his son to work, which was great, you know. And then I can tell you about the afternoon.
Go ahead, Sean.
So they had 500 individual bags made from the giant staff in Willow Grove and Warminster, and inside of it was like a mini Thanksgiving dinner. So it had a can of chicken, chicken gravy, stuffing, green bean casserole stuff, a can of potatoes. So it was about 5.5 pounds of food per bag. They had 500 of those bags made up. And then as people rolled up, we handed them out to the families and we asked them how many families there are there. Hey, Nello, can you mute the phone? I'm sorry. It's feedback. And we handed them out to the families. The rest, because they're non-perishable, Warminster Food Pantry is able to take them back to their site afterwards and still hold those for families in need. They're by appointment only over there. It cost about $6,000 of their annual budget to put that program on Saturday. So it was pretty cool to get to know Mike Serino, who's now the new president of the Warminster Food Bank Pantry.
Great, thank you. Now, I found that opportunity just doing a Google. So, and I put the challenge out there, but if you know of any service opportunities hands-on, like I say, that week as the club can get involved in volunteer hours, let me know. I don't mind reaching out to them. Or if you have an idea for one, but, you know, we want to really put an effort this year to try to do one monthly, you know, this year, and have opportunities for all our members to get involved. Right here in the Warminster community, we really want to serve our people. I did talk to Mike about being a speaker for our club, find out what's going on about the need. So look for that in a couple of weeks. He's going to come, you know, virtually and kind of give us an update about what they do and how they're going to handle, you know, that. So that was really neat. So the afternoon, we handed out a ton of bags, and then churches came and packed up a bunch so they could hand out their congregations, and then they took them back to the bank, you know, to provide that for their families with that. And I know he's going to do another event at some point, and hopefully we can be involved in. It's just a good partnership that we're looking to develop, you know, right here in our community. So, and the pictures are there. So again, if you know of any opportunities for hands-on, let me know. We can do something. We'd love to get involved, especially here in Warminster. You know with that. So very good. Before we get to our speaker, we have our upcoming events. We have moved our district governor, Janet. She's going to come later in August or September. You'll get that email about that. And just so you guys who weren't on last week, we moved our beef and beer. We're not going to do that until maybe the spring, but we're looking at a golf outing at Five Ponds. Dalton's going to be heading up as the head of our fundraising committee that we'll all get involved in, and that we're going to be doing football raffles. Hopefully the NFL, you know, will have a season, and you'll be finding out more information as we get closer to that in the next couple of weeks of how we can raise some money, you know, doing that with that. Before we move on, does anybody have any new business they want to throw out there? All right, everybody's so quiet. All right.
Just to let everybody know, this is John Holroyd. The fishing trip this year for the scholarship fund is October 9th, 10th, and 11th. So far, we have 4 Rotary members going, and the cost is $925. That includes 2 days fishing and 3 nights lodging. So I just wanted to let everybody know.
Can we get,
Thanks, John.
can you send that to us in the email, all that information
Sure.
about the trip? Because I know I haven't seen it. I don't know if anybody else has. You know, so we can, you know, get it out there.
Yeah, I'll send it out to you.
That would be great. Then we can put it, you know, I can put it, we get on the website and those kind of things. And we'll be scheduling different speakers also on that. Sean's going to be doing a training for Club Runner. We're going to schedule, you know, for our weekly meetings. The Facebook, David Akers is going to come on when he gets back from vacation and talk about the Facebook marketing that we signed up through the district. So everyone get that. And then Sean's contact with an overall marketing proposal is going to come on after we meet with them and then present to our club just as a meeting that how we can market ourselves better to grow our membership. So we got a lot of exciting things coming up. So you definitely want to keep plugged in over the next couple of weeks. And hopefully as we go into the fall and our situation changes, we'll be able to meet live. But until then, that's what we're going to do. So, Sean, you want to introduce our guest speaker?
Absolutely. So I reached out to Dr. Siedenberger, who's acting superintendent for Centennial School District, and he's graciously accepted our invitation to come on and give us an update and stay as active as he wants to stay in Centennial at this point in his second retirement, I guess. But he seems to be, from internet research, a longtime superintendent all around Pennsylvania, and he's stepped in to kind of oversee the transition to the next superintendent. So with that said, Dr. Siedenberger, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here. And on behalf of the community projects that you support that benefit children in our communities, thank you very much. I've had an interesting past with Rotary in one of my districts, where I was fortunate enough to be superintendent. I was in Brick, New Jersey. We developed junior Rotary clubs for each one of our schools, and that was quite. We were quite proud of that. My last school district, my board secretary and trusted companion in doing good work, she was more involved in a Rotary than I was. I was a chamber member, but through our combined efforts, we ran regional Rotary meetings in our district office. So I know what you folks do, and again, I want to thank you for what you do in terms of community service and volunteerism. So everybody wants to know what's going on. Well, here's the big news. The board, our Board of Education Centennial, they're going to be formally hiring a superintendent tonight, Dr. Dana Bedden. He is currently superintendent in Boyertown. So hopefully everything goes smoothly tonight, and he'll be starting sometime probably in early September. So I'm anxious to get started playing with Dr. Bedden, and I want to let everybody know, and of course tonight we'll say this, that we'll be planning for a smooth transition. So I've been here from about June 15th, and it's been, well, I don't know how to describe it. It's been a whirlwind. It's been crazy. At the same time, I feel not pressure, but a weight like I've never felt before in my life and my career as a superintendent. Seemingly every issue I've always felt there was some type of solution that had a pathway attached to it. For this particular situation, I'm only speaking for myself, but I think most superintendents would agree with me that every which way we turn, there seems to be some barrier in our path moving forward. So the job has become incredibly pressurized. I would think in the last 6 months, and I've certainly have felt it since June, but we're moving forward. Currently, we have a group of about 75 people engaged, and that would be administrators. We have some board members, we have teachers, support staff, really deeply planning 3 options that we're presenting publicly tonight. And I'm not going to get caught up in educational jargon, so I'll make this as simple as we can. The first option would be simply to have everybody return and in a schedule that looks as normal as possible to any other school year and day, okay? Now, why isn't that easily doable? Because of something called social distancing. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the state CDC guidelines are basically talking about 6 feet of separation from individuals, whether it be a teacher or a student. And I will tell you this, that automatically close your eyes and look at a classroom that we can sit 26, 27 comfortably. You'd have to remove about 5 or 6 desks out of there to make that conform to social distancing. So right off the bat, it's going to be very difficult to bring everybody back at one time because we're not going to have the capacity. Now, if you're a district that has extra classrooms, you have declining enrollment, you have an extra building, perhaps that could be in your planning. But for a place like Centennial, where basically all the classrooms are used, that makes that scenario very difficult. The second scenario we're planning for is something we call a blended approach. And basically that allows us to work with, take a regular group of 28 kids, we cut them in half. And one half of the kids, generally broken up by alphabet, would come 2 days a week. The other half would come 2 other days a week. And then we would have Wednesdays, where our plan would be a day in which a teacher works with the whole group remotely. So there are some advantages to that program. Like anything else, there's some disadvantages to that program. But that's one that's under serious consideration. The best part of that is that we can control social distancing, and we can, let me be honest with you. It's a little more humane with a teacher and maybe 12 or 13 kids in a classroom with masks or face shields. Maybe we can create opportunities for kids to take mask breaks. We can probably move around easier in our school buildings. We can take advantage of gyms, cafeterias, and the like. Whereas in the first scenario I talked about, we may not be able to use some of those facilities due to social distancing. And the third option that we're really looking at, well, we do have a fourth, and I don't want to confuse you, but the third would be full virtual. That means every teacher and every student involved in remote learning. Unfortunately, that is what happened last March. People weren't prepared for it. We're in a much better situation if that comes to fruition this year. Teachers have bucked up their approaches, have gotten more materials. They understand the difference and benefits of live teaching as opposed to lessons that may have videos and drop down things into them. So there would be a good balance if we're faced with that challenge of doing remote learning. So feel pretty comfortable with that. The other option we're going to give to some parents is we run a third-party all cyber program. It's affiliated with Centennial. For instance, families, if they remain in that program, could graduate from Williamton High School. They would get ID badges. They would be available for counseling. It's just that they would be like an independent satellite of our program operated by a third party. The company is VLN. They're out of Pittsburgh. They do a magnificent job. And so that's an alternative for a child or family leaving our district entirely and going to a cyber charter. So we like to think that that is a nice option if people just, for whatever reasons, probably a lot of trepidation and fear maybe about coming back into a brick and mortar situation with COVID-19 out there, that's a safe and secure way to educate your child. So that would be our plans. We're working, I don't know, I spent all weekend is supposed to be retired in a part-time job here. That's anything but. But I've enjoyed my stay. People are really great here. Very, very engaging. People are lucky. I think they have a great staff that loves kids here and working overtime to make good things happen for kids. And trust me, this is not an easy situation for people in our profession and for parents. You know, we get the challenges. People are working. What are going to be daycare issues and all that. And that has added to the weight on our shoulders. Trust me, that's part of every conversation. What's the right way going forward? And again, I wish somebody would give me a magic wand when I can wave it and make everybody happy. But I'm afraid no matter what we do, that's not going to be the case. So we're going to do our best. I said before, we're going to be reviewing our basic options with the board. We probably expect to make a final decision sometime next week. So any questions?
Do you foresee like the high school students doing 2 days a week? Because I know living here in Central Bucks, that seems to be a popular,
Well, our hybrid or blended model would be 5 days for all students, but two in person in the buildings. Okay. So we would take a high school, take an English class of 25. It would be divided into two. And those kids would come and have face-to-face instruction 2 days a week and then do remote online instruction the other 3. And why we're doing that? Because we can lower the class sizes, make it more humane. Kids can take off their masks. There's 6 feet of social distancing. It's just, I hate to use the word manageable, but it is. And we think that 2 days with real life professional is valuable. So that's something that we're seriously looking at. And but let me be honest with you. These are all stopgap measures. The goal is to get every kid, every teacher back in the buildings. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen after we get a vaccine, but I can tell you it's not going to happen until we get clear guidance from Bucks County Department of Health, the Pennsylvania Department of Health, and organizations like CDC. And right now, we're keeping our eye on the positivity rate for Bucks County, and it seems that we seem to have a steady uptick right now. So that's concerning us as well. So all those are factors that are going to determine what our recommendation is going to be. Okay?
How are they going to handle the bus transportation for the kids?
Well, very carefully. If we would go with that hybrid option, obviously we have less kids to transport each day, and we can do some better social distancing in a bus. Maybe we can get, in some cases, some 1%, some 2%. Now, kids have got to wear a mask no matter what age you are on a bus. But if we had to transport all the kids at one time, I'm not so certain we could do it without changing start and ending times for some schools. In other words, maybe 2 of the elementary schools go normal, 1 would open like a half an hour later, because we can't go out. I think you understand that. We can't go out and buy $90,000 buses. That's just not going to happen. So we'll do what we can. We're working with our bus drivers. Their job is to keep their eye on the road. So we're really going to have to work with parents and the kids themselves. Hey, act civil at the time you're on that bus. Keep that mask on. Enjoy your ride. And if somebody doesn't follow the suggested behavior, then we'll have to deal with that.
Dr. Siedenberg, why is it that obviously there's a lot of school districts, and in Jersey, you probably saw that even more, where every corner is a new school district, but why is it that we can't use the model like this? The state has a model for Keystone First Cyber School, right, which they operate out of the Department of Education with curriculum that's already built to do this stuff. Why can't they just expand that to the district so that we have a clear, concise model for every school district across the state?
Well, now you're bringing back some bad memories. I'm an old guy, okay? I might be the oldest one in this meeting. Many years ago, when I thought I could change the world, and I really did it. When cyber charter schools came out, this was in the Lehigh Valley and other places. I was an outspoken critic. I remember working on position papers that I shared with two really good guys. And one was Bob Mensch, he's a senator in Upper Perk area, that part of Montgomery County and Berks County. And a guy I really am really fond of. I think he's top shelf. And that's Senator Pat Brown. I think he's either the second or third ranking Republican senator. Both guys I used to meet with routinely. I have a lot of respect for both guys, but I used to plead with them. Both Bob and Pat, please, why don't you get ahead of this and form a state cyber program and cut through the chase, and let's manage that from PDE so all of our kids can have, number one, equity, and can have, number two, an opportunity that's organized by the state. We won't be, I hate to say this, but we won't be wasting money on cyber charters. So yes, last week I got a glimpse at what Governor Murphy was doing in New Jersey, and I thought that makes a lot of sense. But I think if you talk to a lot of superintendents, that's something we've been promoting for, I would say, almost 15, 20 years ago. That was our case. Take the bull by the horns, do a state program. The state controls the curriculum, the standards, create something that is that a kid living somewhere in the boonies of Susquehanna County, you know where that is? All the way up above Scranton. Really, some of those school districts I visited, they don't even have paved roads, but those kids could access as easily as a kid in Warminster. But even though you have good ideas, that just didn't happen. Maybe they'll learn from New Jersey. I don't know. But I'm sort of out of the business rather. I'm just doing this stopgap. But that was so obvious, and yet it didn't happen politically. I don't know why. You'd have to ask someone like Senator Tomlinson, another good person, by the way. But if you have strong feelings like that, here's what I would do. I would pick up the phone and call your state rep or your state senator, or drop them a note saying, why don't you consider a statewide cyber program? And do that. Yeah. There's no harm in doing that. Really, you're not moaning. You're just giving a suggestion. No, I tell that to people all the time. They really do like hearing from you. They really do enjoy notes like that because they don't know everything, number one. And the more they hear from their constituents, the better they feel about representing you.
On a somewhat different topic, what is the process of the new superintendent of, especially coming into a situation like, I guess, like none other, Dr. Ball leaves, and generally, I guess normally you have the candidates you hire and they come in, but now the new superintendent's got to come into a COVID situation. These options are presented, like.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Number one, the good news is his district is right where we are. He's coming from Boyertown, Pennsylvania. They're down to two options before their board. So he's probably very familiar with the blended hybrid model and with full online. So that's not going to be strange to him. Of course, there's nuance. Every community is slightly different, but these should not be foreign concepts to him. His name's Dr. Dana Bedden. Tomorrow I'm going to pick up the phone and call him, and I can tell you over the next 6 weeks, we will be connecting, and I will do everything I can to brief him, to smooth him. For instance, currently we have 2 meetings a week, Mondays and Thursdays, for all superintendents in Bucks County. And every other week, we have a 4-county meeting. So like last Thursday, we met remotely with superintendents, not only from Bucks County, but with Delaware, Chester, and Montgomery counties, so we can get a regional perspective, a regional understanding of what everybody's doing. And trust me, if you read the papers, and I'm sure you guys do if you follow the news, you're going to see patterns developing in school districts, not only in Bucks County, but you're going to see some big news today in districts in Montgomery County, and they shouldn't be surprising. Big news last week with one of the biggest school districts in Chester County. Probably Downingtown is the largest. You probably heard about that, and I'm sure you're going to see Delaware County school districts following suit. And so when you start to see those patterns, you get an idea that things are moving in a certain direction. Okay, and why do we do that? Well, number one, there's safety in numbers, but number two, we are talking about resources. We are sharing ideas. And it's important that we do that because of things like Middle Bucks Institute of Technology and other technical training institutes that other Bucks County districts share. Okay.
Angela, have you guys seen anything with the YMCA, since you guys are kind of a microcosm with this, with the daycares, and Chris as well, with having operated throughout all of the COVID situation? Like, have you had reported cases from your teachers or students, having them been back in the classrooms?
The why we haven't had any. We have been serving essential workers and others that need childcare during this time throughout. We were able to get a waiver for that, and we started camp mid-June. That's been going as well. Of course, with all the social distancing and a lot of different protocols that we didn't have before, but
there was a limited amount of preschool care and after-school care. We will continue those services for our parents. Getting cleaning products has been challenging. We have an ample supply, but I feel like I'm in the Alamo, you know what I mean? How long can we hold out? No, I'm not kidding. And because we have no idea what's the demand going to be, how much like hand sanitizer is going to be used. We just don't have any models for that. So we're all throwing the dice. And then some of the things we ordered, quite frankly, are in back order. So you're crossing your fingers. Is that delivery truck coming today or tomorrow or anytime before September 1st?
Yeah,
So
we've seen a huge increase in the cost of gloves. Oh my gosh, they more than doubled the price, and they're hard to find.
Even though we went together, all the districts in Bucks County, for a joint bid, we were a little disappointed when we got the bid awards back and saying product on back order. That's not the kind of words we want to see, especially, you have 13 districts going together. That's a lot of business. And, you get the responsible back on back order. So of course the question, why'd you bid on it? Couldn't deliver the goods, because a lot of people were waiting for that bid. We're trying to be frugal with taxpayer money, and a group bid like that, you're going to reduce your costs to some degree. So anyway, that's some of the disappointments we deal with.
Can everyone hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we haven't had any reported cases. We also opted out of, taking the kids off site this year, so we're not having our typical camp. We're not having the parents come in the building at this time, and we're taking temperatures of all the staff and the kids when they come in. So far it's been working out pretty good. We have reduced hours, and we try to keep the same teachers with the same groups every day.
We will be seriously limiting the number of visitors coming into our buildings. That's one thing. Sports season, I'm saying if sports seasons happen, you're going to be playing football in an empty stadium, things like that. That's just the way it's going to go.
But it's very challenging to get 2 years and up wearing a mask. I could tell you that because I don't know too many 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, even 4-year-olds that are going to wear a mask.
I'm a grandparent, and I've got 2 wonderful grandkids, and I've got a real active 6-year-old going to first grade and so excited. I just can't see Owen wearing a mask all day, knowing what kind of kid he is, and that just breaks my heart. So I'm working this job, but also with what would I want for my grandkids in mind too, and some of that paternalistic attitude. I think is a good thing that affects my decision making too.
Would it be, are most of the superintendents and school districts just waiting for the governor to make an executive order at this point and hoping that he says that schools are all virtual, make it work? Or is that why there's 4 or 5 plans with every school district instead of just saying, we're going to make a decision in the worst case scenario, this is what we're going to do, and we're just going to plan for worst case scenario, which has probably a reduction in cost in some sense because the operations of the facilities aren't there?
Well, let's put it this way. If the governor would make a decision, it takes the pressure off us. But I can tell you, everybody I know, just being in the meetings since June 15th, people are really working hard at these options. They are not, it's not playtime. They're very real. And it's been an amazing process every Monday and Thursday to open up a meeting, and someone has discovered something and shares that information that causes the rest of us to reflect on a decision we might have made. So I, for one, have appreciated the sharing and the collaboration among school districts. There's been slight variations between what we're doing, but I think everybody's been going on the same 3 models, basically because the state gave us 4 models that we could pick from, and that's where we are. But I look, there's been a lot of time and a lot of emotional capital going into these plans. If there's any such sense of frustration at this point, it would be, why did you wait so long? That's just my opinion. Maybe some others. I can say that because I'm old, but the others may not want to say that. But if you're going to make a decision, why didn't you make it already? To save everybody the wear and tear of making these plans, because it really has been an incredible. I know my staff, what they've been doing. We're shorthanded to begin with, but they've been working overtime and committed. The volunteers we've had coming from our teachers and our support staff, been amazing. Everybody jumped in and offered ideas, gave feedback, and as basically a new member of this community, I've been so impressed with the diligence and the professionalism and the dedication that people have expressed during this planning period.
I know because I coach cross country for East, and it just seems like the PIAA is like full steam ahead, but the districts are trying to figure out how you're going to get kids in school. And it seems like, to Sean's point, it seems like they're waiting for someone just on that level, even for sports to come in and say,
I don't want to break the confidence, but I will tell you, there's been heavy duty discussions over the last 10 days about, let's put it this way, contact sport. Can't get into them, but heavy duty, ethical, moral discussions about contact sports.
Yeah. But we're getting closer,
Yeah,
and a week for football, then 2 weeks for everybody else.
And let me tell you, my background, where I was superintendent, we had a pretty darn good sports program, at least Penn. You know anything about girls field hockey? Anyway, I know it's not big necessarily in this neighborhood, but we had the #1 program in the country. No, really, I'm serious. But if you go to a girls field hockey game, let me tell you, it's full contact. It is full contact. There is nothing that that's not physical about that sport. And so that's another one we have to take a look at. And along with soccer, golf may be okay, but even cross country, kids are, you start a race, they're all bunched together. And so, I mean, we're having those discussions, and believe me, they're not easy.
No, I know it's
At the bottom, you and my kid, my youngest son, he has a very interesting job. He is the assistant commissioner for men's basketball in the Pac-12
oh,
with UCLA, USC, Oregon State, Arizona State. And let me tell you, he calls me like once a day, and the discussions they're having at his level are not easy. But here's one. You can take this fact away. With 20 non-conference football games canceled in their conference, that was worth $72 million. So they're talking about big money
yeah.
and safety at the same time. It's not easy, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, we want to thank you for coming to our meeting and sharing with us.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry it's going to be such a short visit to I love the drive down. I love the drive down here every day. It's been very nice. About an hour drive down through Palisades and 611. So it's been fun, and the people I've met here are so nice and engaging, and I've really enjoyed my time here. But thank you for the invitation. If I can do anything for you, just let me know.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Rotarians, we'll see you next week. Look for an email about what our meeting topics will be. Again, if you have any ideas for volunteerism, that we get some hours or projects, let me know. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Stay cool.
Thanks, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Bye.
you.